Bonjour, welcome. Come on in. And welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ainsley DeRose, and I am a professional pastry chef living in Paris. And I get so many questions about our apartment and how small it is, how we organize everything in such a small space. So I thought I'd start there. This is my first YouTube video, so I wanted to share a little look into our space and our life in the city that I now call home. But before I get into the details of our apartment, I'd like to first show my actual favorite part of our apartment, which is where it is. So we live in the 5th arrondissement, or it's called the Latin Quarter, and it's one of the oldest neighborhoods in Paris, full of so much character. It's been home to some of the greatest artists and philosophers and poets, which you can see why with all the narrow cobbled streets, the old bookstores, cute cafes, and all of the quiet corners. Things are a bit more quiet here. It actually feels like a more authentic part of Paris, which I love. It's also home to my favorite museum in all of Paris. Right in the middle of the area, right on top of the hill, is the Pantheon, which is an extraordinarily beautiful building. It's a museum to some of France's greatest leaders, thinkers, scientists, artists. You can even climb all the way to the top, the greatest view of Paris. There are also so many independent stores and bookshops and family-run bakeries that have been running for decades and where we go to every single day. What I love about the area is that the buildings here aren't polished or perfect. It still has that perfectly old Parisian charm about it. And not too far is the river, which is lined with those famous green book boxes that sell worn novels, vintage postcards, and maps. And right across is the Notre Dame, on an island full of even more cafes and flower shops, and the perfect spot to just sit and read or watch people pass by. I just love how walkable everything is here. There are hidden courtyards, antique shops, untouched corridors. It's not the flashiest part of Paris, but it feels alive and lived in, full of life. And even after about 6 years of living here, I've still noticed new details or areas that just remind me truly how grateful I am to be able to live here. Also not too far is the Monge Market, where my husband and I actually have our own stall. It's called Café Revolution. It's a play on the French word vélo for bike. And it's where he built a cargo bike and serves coffee, and I make the pastries for it. So if you ever find yourself in the area, we'd love to have you stop by. Also not too far is the Maubert Market, which is on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And it's where we usually go to shop for our produce and our flowers and local honey. And then another one of my favorite parts about our apartment is actually our view from the very top. After climbing about 8 floors, you're rewarded with the most stunning view of Paris. Where you can see all the way even to Montmartre over the old Parisian rooftops. But I wanted to share with you my neighborhood first, because I often get told that our apartment is either too small, too cramped, or too this or that. But it's the life that I chose and honestly fought so hard to have, and I still fight for it. So for me and my husband and our teeny tiny dog, it is just the right size for us for now. And if we ever do start to feel cramped or closed in, we can always just go to our backyard, which is Paris. But now I'll show you a little bit more of a walkthrough of our apartment and where we keep things, along with the help of my favorite videographer, my husband.
Let's start with the kitchen. I think that's everyone's most interest is the kitchen. So this is it. Yes, we do have a fridge. She's right here. I have hidden her with a little curtain that I made. It's very small and compact, but it's the normal size here, which just means you have to grocery shop at least once
Once a day.
Once a day, yeah. So it's not, you know, ideal, especially for me being a pastry chef and we both cook. He mostly cooks. It's giving me a mean look. The oven. The kitchen did not come with an oven. Most apartments in Paris don't actually have ovens that come. It's usually a microwave, which is what we had. We had a microwave, so we had to move that, and then I bought just this little, it's not a toaster oven, it is like just a tabletop convection oven. It's not the best. You just kind of have to crank up the temperature to the top and hope that it works, but it does work for now. I do, when I'm not baking, I do store a lot of the pans and trays inside actually, so that helps with a bit of space. And I have the 2 Dutch ovens on top and some of my bowls when obviously the oven's not on. And here is a mess. Don't look at it too closely, but we have our plates, more baking stuff, bowls, a lot of our dry food ingredients. And then this one, just give you a peek, it's a little bit scary. Okay, it's our food processor, which I have here on the 2, what's it called, burner, stove. My KitchenAid. My pride and my joy is my KitchenAid. I have some cutting boards. I keep a lot of flours, sugars, teas, cornstarch. A lot of like my baking stuff up here. And then I have herbs and flavors and things like that. And then I keep all of my utensils here, my spatulas, my sifters, my whisks, and stuff like that. No, we don't have a dishwasher. We do everything by hand in this little kitchen sink. But you just kind of wash as you go. And then just these things, we have the knives, forks, cutlery, stuff like that. More bowls, cutting boards, rice cooker, my scale. And then here is my pans, voila. Those are my pans, my rolling pin. When I do use my copper pan, I do have to use an adapter, which is fine. You just put it on here, put the copper pan on top, and it works just fine. Do keep a lot of our vegetables and fruits here in my apron. And lastly, we have the trash can with other stuff.
Bunch of junk.
So yeah, that's pretty much the kitchen. I still do like to put a bit of vintage and knickknacks here and there, just to kind of make it not so bland and feel so sad. But Parisian kitchens, especially the older ones, are small like this. This is quite normal for a Parisian apartment. But yeah, we have everything that we need, and yes, I would like more space, but it works. And I use the table for a lot of like the chopping and preparing stuff, so it's nice to have like a marble space so it stays cool, and do I do all of the preparation stuff here. So when designing the space, it was kind of difficult at first because it's it's like a living room plus like a place where we eat, so I had to kind of configure where everything could go. So I found this couch. It's not my favorite, but it is small enough for 2 people to somewhat comfortably sit on it. It's nice because it's small but big enough that we could have two tables to have our drinks and books and our record player on. It's also Lola's favorite spot in the house. Then I found these 2 nesting tables. Just a couple of books I bought at a flea market here. For our table, I didn't want something marble because it helps with my pastry. So we found this old bistro table online. I think it was like what?
50.
50 euros. Everything in here, like the biggest purchase I think was the couch, but everything else was less than 100. I do like vintage stuff because one, I like the look of it, but also it is usually more affordable when trying to furnish a place. These chairs were literally everything. The chairs, this little table where we put our drinks and our glasses, this mid-century piece, we put all of our documents and other things. So Lev's only request when we came to the apartment was to have his projector. That's why there's this random shelf here. We just removed this and then put his projector on top. Not have such a white blank wall, I then added a bunch of random art pieces and things I found at the market. This painting here I painted, and then I just put this old wall art light on top. I made this little lampshade out of striped linen fabric that I got on Etsy. Okay, so I get most asked about where I keep my clothes and the rest of my baking things, and I keep them here. Which I like that it's mirrored because it kind of makes the space look bigger, but it's not that big, so you'll see, it's pretty scary. Do not judge me, this is just how it is. But yeah, this is where we keep our jackets and most of my pastry stuff. Don't look too closely. And then the other scary part is where we keep most of our clothes and our shoes and some more pastry stuff. So Lev has sacrificed some of his clothing and my clothing for mainly pastry, but it's just the way it is. And now to the bedroom.
Not only do I decorate with vintage finds because it's more affordable, but also because it's how I grew up. I would go with my mom and my grandmother to estate sales and garage sales, antique stores almost every weekend. So for me, decorating in this style is not only nostalgic for me, but it is also a dream come true of being able to shop at a Parisian flea market and never knowing exactly what you might just find.
It's just an IKEA bed, and it didn't really have a headboard, so I wanted to add some type of layer and texture. So I bought this fabric at the flea market. Again, cleaned it and everything. Just folded it and then used these little clips that I found, I think on Etsy. But I think you can also find similar stuff at the flea market, and just clipped it up, and that's our headboard. All of my apartments I've ever had, I always have some type of fireplace, and I really wanted like the typical Parisian fireplace, but one, they're so expensive, they are so big and heavy, and it just would have been impossible. So I went on to Facebook Marketplace and I found this fireplace. I think it was actually advertised as a children's fireplace. It was like stark white, so I took some Roman clay and then I painted over it to kind of give it like a stone effect, to kind of create some type of texture. I'm really obsessed with Delft tile, but again, so expensive and hard to get. So I found this wallpaper that I just put on the back of a piece of cardboard and just stuck it behind it, so it kind of gives the illusion of like an old Delft fireplace. So even if I have lots of stuff, some may call it cluttered, I call it maximalism. I think having mirrors everywhere that you can really opens up a space and makes it appear a bit bigger. So we found this mirror right across the street from us on the floor. So we took that. And then we found, again, when I was looking for stuff for the US, I just kept buying stuff because we thought we were going to move. So I found this really beautiful old frame and then this old mirror. They're both a little bit broken. I see no problem with that, so I just put it all there. But again, If we didn't plan on moving, I probably wouldn't have so much stuff, but it's just how it goes. Apartment came with this whole setup. It actually used to be a desk here, so we just removed that, put this in for extra storage for clothes and everyday things that we wear. And then we just put all of our cookbooks and books. Yes, I am aware the shelf is not as straight as it should be, but it was already like that. It has gotten worse, but I just refuse to fix it. I think it's fine, but And last but not least, another question I get most is, do we have a bathroom? And yes, we do. Small, but she has everything we need. We are lucky that we have a washer. It's a washer and dryer, but I prefer just to hang dry our clothes. I always have. We have storage space for towels and medicines and things like that. We do have a nice heating rack, so that's nice in winter. Dry stuff as well. Pretty standard wash space with more storage, and like I said, I love mirrors, so I have mirrors on top. I have a mirror on a mirror, but also even though it's like a bathroom, I still like to add a little bit of decoration to it, so I do have a little bit of artwork and little antique vintage things here and there, just to make it not so, because it is just like a white on white on white bathroom. And we also have a shower. Yeah, we have everything really that we need in an apartment. It's just small, and it's fine. So that concludes the tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and it kind of answered some of your questions about how I organize my space, or how we make do with a small space with a lot of stuff. If you have any questions, let me know. And I've linked as much stuff as I can below, so definitely check that out if anything interests you. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. Let me know what other type of videos you would like to see. If you'd like to see more like day in the life, or flea markets, or sit down and chat type of videos, let me know. I consume YouTube the most for my content, so I really enjoy making more homey, cozy type of videos, but let me know what you'd like to see. And that's all for now. A bientôt. Say bye bye.